And they told me my head hit the frame of the caddy, even with the seatbelt on. So you have the windshield and the driver's window, and my head still hit the frame part that connects it. But if my head had moved a little bit more, it would have broken my neck on the impact. But because it caught it like on this side, like, you know, the cuts, the lacerations were on that side, not anywhere here. Because I didn't know where the blood was coming from. I thought in the beginning it was like my forehead, but I couldn't feel the cut. But it was back here. I was like, how the hell did my head whip all the way over like that, even with a belt and the airbag deploying?
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah! It's crazy, man. I was in a rental. I just finished paying off my car. I made the last payment of my car, owned the car outright a week ago, and totaled my car 2 days ago. I was at a red light. I was about to turn. I was just going to go get a car wash.
Yeah.
And I went to go make a right, and these two cars took the light on the left lane. So when they took the light, I was like, all right, I got enough time to turn.
Right.
Dude, when those cars, both the Escalade and another SUV took off and I went to turn, this Tesla was coming west to east. Like, he must have been going double and a half the speed of what you're supposed to be going. And when I went to turn, I didn't see him because at that point I've already committed to turn because these cars already took off, ate the lights. I'm like, I had enough time. This guy was going so fast that by the time I made the turn, he was right there and free. I just nailed him. Totaled my car.
You nailed him or he nailed you?
I nailed him. I hit his door, totaled his car, but he was going so fast. Like, and then I had lacerations. I had to staple my head, dude. It's crazy. First time. Yeah. I was like, crazy shit.
And your car is
gone.
A write-off?
Yeah. Just it's sad because, you know, I just paid it off, dude.
Yeah.
Like I was going to lease a car like a few months down the road and have the best of both worlds. And
ain't life a motherfucker?
And it was such a great day too, man. I had such an awesome day with my family. I took them to the baseball game in Miami. It was such a good day. And I just saw that my car looked so dirty. After I dropped them off, I got in my car, looked so dirty. I was like, you know what? I'm right here. Let me just go to the 𝐬𝐸𝐾𝐿 on Southern. And this guy was going to 𝐬𝐸𝐾𝐿 also. And when I told him, I'm bleeding, I'm bleeding so hard. I mean, nonstop blood coming, just. And this guy was like, yo, that was a red light. I'm like, yeah, it was. I go, but I was trying to make a turn and you were speeding, man. I go, I didn't see you. And then he was being a dick in the beginning, but other people came out and said, yeah, you were going too fast and an obstruction was created with the other cars ate the light. So there was no way he could have seen you. When other people started telling him, because I don't think he really knew what was happening, then he backed off from being a dick to me. Meanwhile, I'm just constantly bleeding. The iPhone is amazing. I had emergency contacts. It called 911 on the spot.
No.
Yeah. 911 on the spot. And I had 8 contacts. It texted every one of them, letting them know that they received it because I called 911, that the phone detected a car accident and that they were being messaged because they were in emergency contact with location. My mom was at the Publix at Southern. Dude, that woman was crying driving to where the accident was and came to me. I had no idea. People were calling me and I'm like, what the hell? Like, are you okay? Are you okay? And then 911 was like, you know, the first group. Like the cops were there. EMT and cops were there within less than 10 minutes of the accident. On the spot.
I'm dumbfounded right
Technology,
now.
Dude.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Like, did you have to input all these people as your emergency contacts?
I didn't. I don't know how the phone decided to do it. I didn't do it. But when I told people now that you go to your settings, you manually have to key it in. But I didn't key in any of these people. And
somehow your information has been logged that those people were already maybe the most important, maybe the most called, maybe the most text.
I'm not sure, but it's just 8 people. And only 1 out of 8. Only Caitlin Morris was the only one that called me like 7 hours later. And I'm like, Kate, if you were my only contact and I died, I mean, I'd be screwed waiting for your call.
8 hours later. Yeah, that's hectic, man.
But it was crazy. Like, yeah, they stapled my head and I'm lucky I don't feel any issues. I mean, my head feels obviously sore and I could feel that shit, but yeah, dude, it just.
Obviously, when you get into an accident like that, shock is an instant thing, right? And so when you say, like, when he came over, he was one way, but then when more people that had witnessed it came over and was kind of relaying the information as to what they saw had happened, his demeanor changed because, again, initially you're reacting from a standpoint of, holy fuck, that just happened. And it takes a while for our brain, which is an amazing computer, to digest all of that which just happened when it's a like serious event
I got out of the car in
into
blood, and I
blood.
asked him if he was okay, and I was bleeding, dude. It just was not stopping, and I didn't have anything to wipe off.
And
So
no
when
idea
him
as
and
to
I were
what
talking,
happened.
I'm going like this, just wiping off my forehead, just blood. And then people were there. They were trying to get towels and stuff. And someone gave me something, and I was covering it for a while, and it was nonstop, and it was just waves of blood. Because then after a while, I was okay. Then went to the ER, and then when I got to the ER, I was fine, and then started bleeding again. Like fucking, like
What a fucking day.
it was such a good day. I was gonna run the rest of my meetings in Delray, and I just saw my car look pretty dirty.
Just wanted a car
Just
wash.
wanted a car
That's
wash.
it.
And when this guy told me he was getting a car wash too, I'm like, bro, it's just 2 blocks away. So this happened on Nottingham and Dixie, and the Mintco's right there, right behind the Flanagans.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm like, dude, it's 2 blocks. Why'd you have to go that fast?
You know what? That's just people though. Like I drive from here home, right? Like I do all my recording and then I drive home afterwards. And I am no longer in a rush to get anywhere because I've thoroughly gotten into the point where I really enjoy today. And any time that I have a moment to think about what I'm doing in that moment, like driving home with Sushi, my dog, beside me in the truck with the windows down, I'm going 30 on Dixie and it's a 35. I'm in no rush. And I'm so aware because like I'm looking around and enjoying the scenery and I see so many people that are just like, and like they're just like in such a rush, and then obviously not paying attention to what's around them, and that's when the shit happens.
I'm very thankful and grateful that I'm alive and nothing happened.
If that's the situation where you realize in that moment, or now that you've reflected on it, that that could have been it. Like it could have been like broken neck, paralyzed, dead, any one of so many other more fatal, more horrible situations for you. Has it given you a bit more of an understanding of how important it is to really enjoy the present, the moment?
Oh yeah. My mom, I'm like, dude, I'd like to be able to go on my own terms in some degree. Like if that was it, like not have the opportunity to like talk to anyone, tell anyone that I love them, or if this was a great day, or like just like man, like that would just be such a crappy way to go. Like just not be able to like, and it just makes now I'm like telling people how I feel. Like the past couple of days, I'm just making sure I'm giving you a hug before I leave. Like I'm just because you
Absolutely,
never
right?
know.
Now, did you live a certain way back then that now because of this particular accident that has kind of, made you realize the importance of telling people how you feel about them? Was that not an element of your life before?
It it was. It just wasn't as elevated.
Yes.
And then last year, it was all about health. Like, I did not account for health. I don't know why. I just kept thinking I was Superman, and just we had a big hangar event, that we did every year for, like, for 7 years now, and, I had everything checked off, that anything that could go wrong, that I could foresee going wrong, I had 3 to 4 backup plans. Well, one thing I didn't have a backup plan was my health, and my appendix gave out. I thought I was gonna die. That day, I was coming to terms that maybe that was my last day. Dealing with the pain finally when it happened. I mean, long story short, I mean, it ruptured the next day. Like even when I went to the hospital, it just you just don't expect that. I didn't expect my health to be an issue for an event. Like
It's
just
funny that you bring this up. So, I had the common cold, um, mid-December, maybe somewhere around then. And I had that thought. It's so very interesting how much we take for granted until we get put into a situation. Something as simple as a cold, right? Where you're kind of bedridden for 4 or 5 days. You physically, it just takes it out of you. And you're thinking like, as you get older and things happen to your body, you're more aware of it because you're like, oh, I have not felt that in 46 years. Oh, I haven't felt that before in 40 years. And you start to worry, but then your brain honestly, for me, goes to like, well, what if this is it? Like, what if this cold becomes something worse? And it's interesting how it takes something like that to jumpstart our brain to realize the importance of everything else that we're doing. And if we don't have our health on that list of things to be prioritizing, you kind of get into a moment where you're just like, well, fuck, what am I going to do?
yeah.
Like, I don't want this to be the end. I haven't told my parents I love them. I haven't shared with my friends the level in which I care about them. And you don't want to miss out on doing that. And it's a shame that we have to get put into a situation like a car accident or an appendix, or, God forbid you go to the hospital and you find you have cancer. Like all those, like, why do we wait until that happens before we have the willingness to express to each other how we care about one another?
Last year, what I got out of it was that I needed more balance within my life, to be able to do more things, because I've been so busy, constantly working, and I work a lot also. I don't tell this to a lot of people, but it's because my brain is constantly thinking. I am on overdrive even when I'm not working, and sometimes I just don't like thinking about a lot of things. Sometimes I don't like thinking about my mortality. I think about it. I don't want to. I hope that there's something greater out there. But until then, I don't want to leave this earth. So I think of a lot of things. So it's like I stay busy and I work a lot so that I don't think about a lot of things. And I don't. People are like, really? I'm like, yeah. I just don't like thinking. I just want to be able to, like, just when I'm busy, I'm not thinking about all those other things. So I don't mind doing other things that keep my mind off thinking certain things, and they're not negative thoughts. It's just
I just rather not think about
just
them.
not think about it.
It's interesting to me because I, a very long time ago, became okay with the realization that I'm going to die. Totally fine with it. Like when I get into an airplane, I'm good.
Oh yeah, I accept it when I'm in the plane.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I first accepted it, because I thought to myself, like, listen, at that point I was like a certain age. It was only like maybe, fuck. It was like 7, 8 years ago, I guess. And I was like, you know what? I've done a lot. I've seen a lot of the world. I've traveled. I've experienced many different things in life. And I've lived a life that most people won't even get a chance to do half of that in their lifetime, or choose not to. So I kind of was like, you know what? I'm totally fine if this is it. I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to lose my shit. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. And so on. And so I've taken that idea into my everyday life. So I do think about my mortality regularly. Like I said, like at the age of 46, things happen inside the body. You get a pain here, a pain there, a little pain around the left chest. You kind of automatically think, fuck, heart attack, this is it. But I'm okay with dying because I'm happy with what I've done. I obviously want to do more. Absolutely. But I'm okay with it. So therefore that thought process isn't in my brain anymore. Like when I go to bed, my eyes shut and I'm done. Like I almost giggle before I go to bed now, because I just think of all the great things I got to do today. And sometimes it's simple things like I got to drive in my car with my dog today. And I love that. I fucking love just driving around in my car with my dog.
Mhm.
So do you think that if you implemented different practices that you might be able to work less so you weren't preoccupying your brain to not go to all these thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I went with that approach, absolutely.
The Life Choices podcast is all about helping other people get to a point where they can live a happier life. And so that at the end of the day, when you go home and you finish off and you look in the mirror, you're happy with that individual you're looking at. But more importantly, you're able to go to sleep happy and not be worrying about things that we all think about. Mortality is something every human being thinks about. And yet we all go to bed with blind faith that we're going to wake up the next day.
Yeah.
So things that we talk about quite regularly on here is something as simple as writing down your thoughts, because it has been a stereotype that men are not allowed to express their feelings. But we're breaking that down here on the podcast. Whenever the men come on the show and sit down and chat with me, we all become vulnerable. We all express how we feel, and it's totally fine. We're still alive after the podcast,
Of course.
And so I have found that with writing down my thoughts, or even auto suggestion, just speaking them out loud, even if I'm by myself, that it's cleared up a lot of the clutter in my brain. Because to be honest, this is one of the scariest places to be in the world, because you're in there by yourself and there's no one else there. No one else telling you it's going to be okay but you.
Mhm.
No one calming you down from the ledge. It's just you in there, and you are going to be your worst critic in everything you do.
Correct.
So I try to write down whether it's a positive or a negative thought throughout like at night, at the end of the day. It's like, hey, what did I do today that was good? What did I do today that wasn't good? What can I do tomorrow that would be a little bit better for me? because that's where we have to start. If we want to do good for others, we have to be good inside of here.
Always felt that.
And everyone that comes on the show and says, I know it sounds silly, but, and it's funny. It's because the way we've been programmed, all these things that we want to do to get better as an individual sound silly, but there's proof in the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people that apply the practices can genuinely say, no, I do feel better more often than I don't feel better.
Right.
And that's my goal. I want to be able to go home at night and just be around my people, close my eyes at the end of the night with a smile, and fall asleep.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, it starts with you. You've got to feel good about yourself, or else, people can see that. People can feel your confidence, and it's a great thing. It's a very powerful thing. And when you're down, they can sense it. So, I mean, and for me, I try to, even when things aren't going well for me and I can identify, I'm still trying to find ways of, you know, lifting myself up, or working within myself, identifying what's going wrong and what I still can do, cannot do if I'm limited to something, but, still try to persevere and stay positive, and then, still, again, I don't lose myself in the process, and I'm not.
How do you navigate through that situation of energy that people are going to be sending your way, being a person of the nightlife, being a person that owns an establishment? In your position, there's a lot of people that want from you. And for someone to take that home with them at the end of the night, I would have to imagine it could be difficult sometimes. How do you go about dealing with
Well,
those energies?
when it came to the nightlife, when it came to people, I would have a guard up, and then I would then profile people to figure out what they wanted from me. Like, are they genuinely having my best interest at heart, or are they just wanting to just collaborate and do things because it just makes them look better? They can say, hey. So I always had it because of that. I've always had a wall, and I've always been able to be very good about, all right, who I bring in my circle and who not. And I can tell it, for a good amount. Yeah, people are always wanting something out of you, and working with people, everyone's different. I mean, even with that mindset, you know, I've worked with a lot of people that were very shady, did wrong to other people. But the way I worked was kind of like if you're a football team, like you're 0-0 with me, until you get that one loss on the loss column, then I won't work with you. But until you screw me, I'll work with you. You can be hated by everybody, or you could have done everybody wrong. But if you're not doing me wrong and we're doing things the right way and we're making money, I'm cool with it. Till you screw me. And then
Right.
that's it. And then I'll take everything I've heard from everybody and turn it into one big snowball, but I've used that approach, and it's been able to help me work with a lot of people. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people. People are like, I can't believe you worked with them, and but I've just kept the guard up. I don't lose myself in the process. I do what I can for people with limitations, obviously, but I always feel like when I have a good judge of character, and I can tell when people are just wanting something from me because they just want, and they don't really, there's no real invested interest in a relationship per se to make things work,
Well, it's commendable that you actually give people the benefit of the doubt. And regardless if you've heard everything horrible about someone when it comes to friendship or business or what have you, that you're willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and give them that one strike. And then if they
Yeah.
do fuck up, then it's like, you're done.
Hmm.
It's very, very interesting. When it comes to building your brand, because again, I've always felt that Victor is a brand because I've always known you as the person that was always putting things together. So when you were building the brand, which is you, and I'm assuming at one point you didn't know everybody,
Right. I did not.
right?
That's for sure.
So at what age was that when you were like new to becoming this entertainment? Like what happened that you decided that, listen, I want to be able to put people together. I want to be able to make sure people have fun in the evening at whatever establishment they're going to.
The branding part was very strategic because when I started realizing that I had something, there was a group that wanted to do a grand opening in Miami, and I wasn't doing all the major promoting at the time. But I had the ability. I brought like 80 people down with me in 2 buses down to this club, a grand opening. They're like, "Who are you?" So I knew I had something. I was like, "All right, we can build on that." And so then the first 4 events that I did, were very strategic as to like, creating, okay, well, this is what I want to do. I did an event for Ronnie Coleman, then I backed it up like 7, 8 months later and did an event for Hulk Hogan. I started doing really big time events, and then before I started doing all the regular stuff, to kind of get myself out there. Polo, I've been with Polo for 8 years. I was a new kid on the block, man. I didn't know anything about the sport, more or less getting on a horse. But guess what? I was the hot ticket at the time, and next thing you know, they got me working with other people, and now I've been the face of it for years. Working with so many different people, I mean, it's been a blessing, and building the brand, basically making more of like a universal brand where I'm working with as many groups that I feel I have something in common with. Because at the end of the day, I can't work with someone that I don't have something in common with. We've got to have something there that I feel, whether it's the people that I'm working with, whether it's what what vision you have of what you're trying to do or for events. So I've been very blessed. So I have like 6 or 7 different major events that I do throughout the year that are all spread out. But I know once we get there,
But
it's like,
like, okay, I'm at this event. That means the last 2 months are gone. Okay, that event's going to be in 2 months, and because you have all 6 of these large events, and you have such an interesting lifestyle because you have like mini adventures all year round. Because every time you're doing whatever one of those events is, you get to kind of like create it and build it, see it come to fruition, enjoy it, and then on to the next one.
mm-hmm.
And all year round, you get to change what it is you're working on.
Absolutely. And then working with so many different people, I mean, you get to see exactly where they come from, what their problems are in relations to making things work. Everybody's very different. Some people are very high maintenance, some people are very low maintenance, some people just don't care. Why are you here? Kind of like.
Before I get into my next question, the brand name is
Well, I have it now as VRC events. So
okay.
set up. Yep.
So, and that the full name of that would be
Victor Ricardo Concepcion events. So
perfect.
just my initials.
Okay. So that'll all be down here in the description for anyone that wants to look into hiring Victor here for a possible event in the future. So VRC is a big thing. You have all these events all year round that people come, and these are big people that come to you to have you help them create their event. So
Mhm.
you must have gotten really good at building relationships.
Yes. Been very blessed over the years. I mean, just being at the right place at the right time, really doing the very best for each group that I've worked with and building their trust. That's the key. I tell you, I don't try to like, blow smoke and tell you this is how it's going to be. Usually I just try to come in and do what I need to do. And then for you to see for yourself. And then, okay, all right, this guy's pretty serious. He's legit. If I'm bringing other people into the mix as well. But it's building that relationship with each group that I work with and getting the referrals needed to work with other people to build basically like a community, basically.
Yeah, which I'm sure you've been very, very successful at doing, because if you have 12 months of a year and if you have at least 6 large events every year, that means you did one event once that was so good that those people were like, "Hey, you should hit my buddy up, man. He's really good at doing this sort of stuff." And now here you are so many years later with VRC that you probably don't even have to worry. You probably get to pick and choose who you work with now because of these relationships.
Yeah. Now it is. Now basically I get tons of emails, people wanting to work and wanting to see if we can set up meetings and see if there's any kind of collaborations of sorts or advice, which I don't mind giving advice.
Right.
I mean, if I can help somebody,
Why not?
why not?
Yeah.
If there's something that I couldn't do or I thought I wanted to do and what the timing wasn't there, then hey, run with it.
Did you ever have to did you ever have to halfway through planning an event step away from it because of a relationship that you didn't feel good with anymore?
That's a great question. No, actually, I've been very blessed. Every event I've done, I've carried through. I've never had an issue. There have been some volatile situations within.
There's always challenges.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever. I mean, usually for the most part, every event that I've done, I've been very blessed. I mean, it's worked out. Yeah, like you said, there's some wrinkles here and there. I mean, the only one that came close to just bowing out, honestly, was just for the physical reasons, was my hangar event.
Okay.
But that was pretty much it. With the one where I didn't account for health, but
And that's an event that happens every year?
so I mean, with that, I mean, we do a hangar event. It's Wings, Wheels, and Fashion. So we that event, myself, Alex Cowton, and Nick Castellano, we created that event back in 2018. We incorporated at the time I sit on the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society board. So we included them. We included Stoneman Douglas at the time had the shootings. So we raised money for the victims' families, and then we also had I believe it was Habitat for Humanity. So
Just a
when we
bunch of really phenomenal associations.
yeah. So I mean, when we started the event, we wanted to give back. We wanted to create a really cool lifestyle platform that featured, yachts, fashion, exotic cars, jets, and we grew that event really well. I mean, we grew it in 2018. It grew. The first 3 years was in the Boca Signature. We were the first event in 2021 in South Florida. I always love telling the story. We were the first ones, like of more than 200 people to be approved in all of South Florida at the time. I mean, it was just you know how it was, but but I would go around and talk to so many different groups to do events, and I would get shot down like crazy. I've never been so turned down and heard the word no like I did from January or literally from late September of 2020 all the way to March 2021. And I mean, I just no, 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 Victor, we
Constant.
love you to death.
But no.
Nope, nope. What about 75? Nope, nope, no. We don't. We love the idea and we love what you're trying to do, but we don't want to be a part of the backlash, of it. I'm like, oh, you got to be
Too many people together.
So I remember telling the GM of the Signature, saying, I was like, listen, you know what? Why don't we just get this event approved? Forget the numbers, forget how many people we want. Let's get this morale going. I go, there's no events. I mean, there's a need. People want things to do, and so why don't we just get the event approved, wait till April, and we reconvene, and then figure out a number that they would like, that they would be okay with. Not that we want, but what they would want to get this event to happen. He loved the idea.
That was a smart move.
And guess what? Guess what happens? The guy that's running the whole meeting, it's our turn. As we're talking about this, he tells the board, they want 350 people that day. I'm going, oh man, we're just gonna get shot down. and when they voted, it was unanimous. They approved it.
Nice.
I went to my car and I cried and cried, and like I was just so happy.
That's
because I just to hearing so many no's, it's like what they always say, you're always closer to but in this situation, forget sales. I mean, this is something that, wow, you really wanted this to happen, and to have that opportunity. I went to my car, dude, I was like just like a kid in a candy store. I couldn't stop smiling. I couldn't stop thanking people. I mean, it was just when I left the city hall, man, I just ran to my car and cried. I was so happy, just so happy that we got it done, and now we could work on something and create something really awesome for people to enjoy. That was my favorite event of all the events that we did. Out of all the hangar events that we did, that was my favorite one in 2021.
All those no's that came your way just provided such a wonderful feeling when you got the yes.
Oh yeah.
'Cause you didn't give up. You just kept trying to do different events and wanted. And all the hard work paid off when you finally got that yes. And for such a large amount of people to be together right after what we all went through in COVID.
Yeah, I mean, and of all cities to approve it, like that's also even the beauty of it. It's not like we went, we did it up like say like at like in Port St. Lucie or Stewart because they were letting things happen, but not to that degree. But to have an event to be cleared, to be recognized by the city and the county for that amount, that was huge. And after that, then events started slowly happening at the 100, 200 person level. But we were the first 350 person.
How many events do you have that are annually?
Probably about 5 at this moment.
5 annual events.
I used to have like 8.
Yeah, I mean, 5's not nothing to shake your head about. That's pretty awesome, man. You have 5 guaranteed big events that you do every year. That's all. It's amazing. And all these events are ticket oriented, right?
Yes.
The attendees can purchase a ticket to come to this event. And then, if they do that, whatever the flyer is or the information that's on the internet, they get to see exactly what is going to be on, what organizations are part of it, which nonprofits are
right.
If that's what the event's about.
Yeah.
And the Polo you do every year as well.
Yep. I'm with the sales department.
Okay.
So with me, you basically get a little bit of a little special pricing, so to speak. Polo, like you just the people there, the dynamics, the demographics, you could meet anybody there. It's worth going. It's worth going at least once, checking out, networking. You don't gotta buy a brunch ticket, not to sell myself for what I do, but you could go to the tents. If you know somebody that has a tent, go hang out there. But at the end, you're going to be talking to a lot of people. You're going to meet a lot of really awesome people there that could help you or help someone else out.
it's a day of opportunity of building new relationships with people that may be able to help your company, or you may be able to help their company.
Right.
It's one thing to have a vision of where you would like something to go. It's another thing to bring that vision into a reality. And because of what you do as an event planner, you are literally taking not just your vision, but the other people that are involved in this event, whether it's your business partners or other people that are hiring you to create their event because they know what they're going to get from you. What is that process to get the vision put together and then have it as a reality?
Well, a lot of planning. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. Um, I'm a very visual person. So a lot of it, I have whiteboards and I illustrate a lot of things, kind of like if you're doing like a comic book, so to speak. So for me, like it first starts with a thought process that I'm putting everything out there on the whiteboard, then creating the timelines, and then hoping from there that as long as we're hitting the timelines, everything, we're holding yourself accountable, then you're slowly getting to that vision, that whole, it's starting to all come together. So when you're there at the event, that everything that you've planned all comes together. Like it could be messy. So it's like a painting basically. So it's just a lot. But the beauty with the painting is that you could constantly change things and it'll get better. It'll always look better. When you're visualizing certain things and you see it come to life, I mean, there's just such a great feeling of accomplishment. Like, man, we did that. Like that's,
Makes you feel good.
yeah, you feel really, really good. So when the process is just, holding yourself accountable to what you're visualizing and then making sure that that happens.
How did you go from the brand that is the event planner to sliding over to becoming a part owner of a speakeasy?
Well, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. To be honest, I had to put my life on hold with the event planning. There's a lot that went into it, very high stress. But the beauty of it, working at the speakeasy, being an owner, because I started off being the GM and then I was offered the position and then basically a managing partner, so to speak. I had to basically put everything on hold. And at times I liked it and at times I didn't, because as much as I like running something like the speakeasy, my passion really is events. And so, yeah, you can do events at the speakeasy, but it's limited. I mean, even though our space is beautiful, it's a beautiful Chicago Prohibition speakeasy. It's great to do events. You can decorate any way, but you're just limited to just that space.
Educate me on this. It's a speakeasy. Okay. So that means exclusivity, correct?
Yes. So when,
only a certain amount of people may enter based on obviously your capacity, right?
right, speakeasies usually have these passwords and stuff. Who's going to enforce it, basically? Well, very nice guy. I mean, how can I possibly be the police at the same time? But I remember when we were talking about passwords, I'm like, you know what? You need somebody that people respect and will listen to and won't question. Like, well, who's that, Victor? And I'm like, I raised my hand. I said, I'll do it. They're like, you sure you can do it? It's a lot that's going to come with that. Do you really see yourself enforcing passwords? I mean, you know, they thought that passwords were only going to last 3-4 months. There was no way that we were going to be able to carry it. Now 2 years and 2 months later,
Still going.
it's still passwords. And I create the passwords like on the, what do you call it? 𝐬𝐻𝐵𝐸, the, usual suspects. Yeah. I'll be looking at something and bring, all right, well, the password today is reality. Like I'll just look at things and that's how my passwords come up.
And it's a different password per day that you're open?
Every night it's a different password. And sometimes if we have a theme event, then the password will go along with the theme. If I rent the place out, I'll let you come up with the password that I tell security. And sometimes we have multiple passwords. If you come up there and I don't recognize you, I'll walk up and say, how did you get the password? Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How did you get the password? I'm just curious to see how they, and sometimes it'll be a friend of a friend or somehow they did get lucky and get up there, which at that point I'll tell security, hey,
the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. So the great thing about our speakeasy, it's a very diverse venue in terms of events. There's so much flexibility within the speakeasy to create any kind of event you want. We can make anything happen. You give me a vision of what you want your party to be, I'll make it happen.
So on any given Friday, Saturday night, it's the Roaring 20s,
Well, no,
more or
I mean,
less.
it's basically the look has the Roaring 20s, but no,
Okay.
you just come in any day. It's a regular,
Just a bar.
yeah.
Just Speakeasy
Just
because you got to
Speakeasy.
have the password.
We have an Instagram. It's 335 Capone PB, and a lot of people will reach out to us. You know, we've designated so where it's you can't find us on Google. You want to type us up Google, you're not looking. It's not going to pop up. You're not going to be able to check in either. No check-ins. If you want to, it won't happen. You know, but there is Instagram where and so people will reach out to us when they want the passwords. Well, I screen them at that point, whether I feel like they.
You vet them. You're aware of the individuals that are coming into your establishment.
Yeah, very. To your point with the branding, yeah, I mean, this year I've focused to have more balance. So I am doing a lot of events on my own. I'm working now with someone else. I partnered with someone else to do events and need a helping hand because I can't do it all by myself. So she's been very helpful. And, it gives me more balance too because now I can also work on things that we need to do for the speakeasy, knowing that I have someone that can carry the same vision that I have and that I can trust, which is very important because it's very hard to find people that you can trust, and can help me, at least be able to have a little more balance because I just haven't. You spread yourself thin, and I've been a one-man show.
Well, I'm going to loop it back because you're already going in this direction of the health and having the balance. We touched on the health aspect of it at the beginning. You're in the nightlife. Therefore, you have to be there a lot of the time. And you've mentioned how you are there. And sometimes people, hey, I know him, have him come down. You're working in an environment that takes a lot of your time, which would be normally for rest because you're in a bar. You're going to be there late. You're going to be there past 1 o'clock, past 2 o'clock. You're going to be dealing with people that are not always sober. And you still have a company that you like to run with the events. How do you make sure that you balance your health aspect from it? Because lack of sleep is going to be lack of energy, and then you won't be able to produce the best work the following day. There's a lot going on in your life, planning events, running a bar, two totally yet fixated together. How do you go about keeping a healthy lifestyle?
Well, to be quite frank, the first 6-7 years, it wasn't even a thought. I didn't really, not that I didn't care. I just was just doing what I needed to do and went with the motions, but very cognizant that if I didn't change certain things, then it was going to lead me to the wrong path in terms of where my body was going to go. Recognizing that, drinking a lot, and I don't drink as much as I used to drink. So knowing that, at the end of the day, you're your worst enemy and what's going to hold you back? What are the ingredients within your lifestyle that are going to hold you back from being who you should be? And when for the most part, even though I could identify, there'd be certain weeks within the month that I could be the perfect, person to work with, and then other weeks I'd just be all over the place, just whatever I was thinking or doing because of not having enough sleep. There'd be some nights where I'd maybe sleep 2 hours, 4 hours. It would add up. Certain events, I was very blessed that all events were done very well, but some could have been done a little better had I just taken care of myself a little more. But it wasn't until my appendix rupture last year where it really sunk in and where health was number one, really doing what I needed to do for myself for health to keep myself going because your health is your biggest asset, and I stopped drinking a lot. I started backing off with the drinking. I went 3 months. I did the whole sober run from May to July, which I'm now going to start practicing every year now. I figure I'm going to give my body a detox period. But I really was taking my health very serious after that because I was like, wow, this is like the first thing I've had ever happen to me, which made me really think. I'm like, all right, Vic, you need to really take care of yourself. And in the business, yeah, you could be up till 4 or 5 in the morning doing work or out after you're done working, so I would pick and choose my battles even better as to like the nights that I wanted to go out and socialize and drink with my staff or so forth. I get my 4 hours of sleep, believe it or not. That's
You're
all I need.
solid.
I'm solid. If I oversleep, I'm gonna be tired.
I'm
jet
with you
lag.
on that. I'm happy in the 6-hour range. When I get close to 7, I'm like, okay, some days I needed that, but if no more than that, I wake up, I'm unhappy. I feel guilty. I'm almost groggy. 6 hours is my sweet spot, and people are like, dude, you can't be rested at 6 hours. I'm not saying I'm rested. I'm just saying that I'm functional.
Right.
6 hours for me allows me to get done what I need to do in a fashion that I'm not harming myself. If I get more than that sleep, I'm actually stepping back a little bit because I wake up in a different mindset. And the biggest thing for me is that guilt, thinking that I'm not going to be able to accomplish everything that's on my list that I know I could if I just took those 6 hours and then get going with my day.
It's so true. Try to get rest as much as I can these days, obviously, because I'm getting older. But it's because also when I have a week or two where I have like 5 or 6 different things overlapping, you know, you gotta be on your A game. You gotta know exactly what's what or what's needed for each one, you know. And if you're out goofing off and not caring and not taking care of yourself, then it'll reflect.
The priorities have to shift if you want to become successful at
Correct.
anything you're doing in life. And looking inside yourself and making sure that this temple that you are given is healthy and is manageable is without a doubt the most important. And once we learn, unfortunately, when a situation happens that makes us really think about the importance of our life and what today is giving us, then we can really put forth the effort and the practices to make sure that we do stay healthy so that we can accomplish all of our future goals, all of our visions that we have, that we want to become reality. We're able to go after and accomplish because we understand the importance of our health and we understand the importance that life is very precious. Any practice that you implement into your life that you know is going to help you get to the goals that you want. You're already goal oriented and you obviously are very successful at achieving your goals because of everything that you have created in your life at 46 years of age and, part owner of one thing, owner of another company, constantly asked by lots of people to plan their events and make sure that their party or their day is really, really good. You have that ability, and any implementation of any practice that you put in to just get that little bit better. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You're going to be more successful than you already are.
Surrounding yourself with people that want to see you succeed is also key, as you know.
It does fall down to the fact of the people that you surround yourself with. It definitely is a huge helper in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, for sure. Well, Victor, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming by here
Thanks
today.
for having me here.
Down below in the description are the annual events that Victor puts together, the Instagram for the Speakeasy, because that's the only way of knowing, right?
Yeah.
You can't Google it. So the Instagram is down below for the Speakeasy, the annual events that Victor runs throughout the year here in South Florida. All down below if you want to contact Victor. His information as well is there for you. For all my lifers that keep coming back every week, thank you very much. We'll see you next week here, Tuesday at 2 p.m. on the Lyfe Choyces podcast. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about
The Journey, Lyfe Choyces podcast.